So in today's video, I'm going to be doing a trade recap of the trade that I took on Tesla Friday, June 10th. I shorted it for the 2-minute downside opening range break, and I made $2,350 in just under 1 minute. Now, it's crazy to make that much money that quickly, but when the market starts to pick up in volatility, and especially Tesla, those moves can be really big, and I just happen to be on the right side of it. And the main reason why I think this video is going to be pretty cool is because it's something slightly different. I normally wait a little bit longer off the open before I take a trade, but I felt like because the increased volatility, it had a move up off the open. There was a technical level below. I went for the 2-minute opening range break, which is a setup that I don't normally trade, but I think when it's in the right context, it works really well, and it happened to really work out in this trade, so I'm glad that I can go over it. So now let's go over my newsletter watch list. I was watching Tesla, like always, my favorite stock to trade. In addition to that, I was watching Netflix, Nvidia, Meta, Facebook, which is funny enough because the prior day, I didn't realize that the name changed, so it actually took me a little bit to realize, but now Meta, and then last, Apple. And for those that don't already know, this is my newsletter watch list. This is everything that I'm posting on my private Twitter 30 minutes before market open each day. It's everything that's going on in my head and my game plan before the day starts. So I do a quick analysis of the overall market, the SPY and the Qs, if there's any major market news that day, the stocks that I think are worth watching, if there's any news tied to them, and all the levels that I think are going to be in play. And then to the left, this is a screenshot of exactly what I'm posting on my private Twitter. It's that newsletter watch list. I take a screenshot of the charts, green line to the upside being long, red line to the downside being short, and then I make sure to highlight the 2 major levels above. If you're interested in getting access to this, there's going to be a link in the description below. So now let's quickly go over the technicals. To the left, this is a daily chart of the SPY coming into the day of the 10th. So this is what it looked like. And as far as the SPY goes, I said that it finally broke the range it's been in yesterday. It broke that range towards the end of the day. It lost 407, which was major daily support, and it closed below the 9 EMA and the 20 SMA. Can bounce if bulls can hold up off the open, then clears pre-market high. It has room to 406, 408, breaks pre-market low and stays below. That weakness from the prior day can continue. It has room to 392, 388. Now let's really break down what happened. So the market has been trading sideways for a couple weeks now, and finally that consolidation broke. So that's a lot of times when volatility can kind of kickstart, pick up again, and that's when those moves can be really big. And as traders, we got to take full advantage. So seeing that candle the prior day made me realize that this bounce, if anybody was long and they got caught in that consolidation and then we broke the lows, they're going to stop out, or now they're stuck. So who knows how far down we go, but it feels like as far as the direction down, we could possibly continue in that direction. So just making sure to realize that the path of least resistance is going to be lower for now. And now the Qs, so I said that it broke the range it's been in yesterday as well. It lost 303, which was major support, and closed below the 9 EMA and the 20 SMA on the daily. Can bounce if it holds up off the open, then clears pre-market high. Has room to 293, 296, breaks pre-market low and stays below. Weakness from yesterday can continue. Has room to 290, 287. And this is the same exact concept as the SPY. Was in consolidation for a couple weeks. Finally broke the low of that consolidation. Overall, the daily is still weak. The market is weak. So not trying to fight that, just going with the flow, which is currently lower. Now let's get into Tesla. So I said that it had a nice move higher yesterday, but it couldn't hold that move. Bears took control later in the day, and it closed weak. Can bounce if it holds up off the open, then clears pre-market high. Has room to 740, 750. Breaks pre-market low and stays below. Weakness from yesterday can continue, especially if the market is weak. It has room to 690, 680. And now as far as the rest, if you just want to pause the video and then read what I say, go ahead and do so. And then you can even pull up the chart next to it to see how it played out. So now let's break down what happened with Tesla on the intraday chart. Why was I okay taking a very quick trade on this today versus all the other days? So as far as what happened coming into the open, look at that huge move lower. We had a really hot CPI number and the entire market sold off. And being that the market is very weak, we're currently in a downtrend, the path of least resistance is going to be lower. And when everything started to sell off, I feel like there was a chance that maybe sellers could take control today and there was more room to the downside. And as far as the open, so what happened with Tesla? Had a really big push, almost went to about 712, but as you can see, there's still a lot of resistance to the left. It's still gapped down. So just wanting to go with the flow of the trend, I don't want to fight that. And then very quickly, this candle closed, and then look at this next candle. So it got back below the VWAP, back below the 9 EMA, candle closed red, this first candle, so it set the high right around 711, set the low right around 700. 700 is going to be a psychological whole number. The candle opens up kind of in the lower half of that candle, immediately takes out the low. And as it broke the low, that's when I went short, anticipating the pre-market low break. So there was a technical level below. And then when we got the move through pre-market low, I just took quick profits. And now to get into the actual trade. So that first 2-minute candle closed red. Sellers are clearly in control. It feels pretty heavy. Anticipated that new low a day, also knowing that 700 is a big psychological level with pre-market low below. I ended up going short. I took the 700 puts, 10 of them, and I got filled at $11.90. So very quickly made a new low a day, got below 700 and broke that pre-market low. It's pretty volatile, started to bounce a little bit, got a nice move in my favor, so I wanted to just take profits. I ended up selling the whole position just under 1 minute later, and I sold those contracts at $14.25 for a really nice move. So now let's go check out the P&L. Ended up being a nice one and done day and made $2,350, which is an awesome green day. So that was the trade recap. Hopefully you got some value from the video. Thanks for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. I just want to talk about a couple cool things that I have to offer. The first is going to be my newsletter watch list. This is exactly what I post on my private Twitter 30 minutes before market open every single day. I do a quick analysis of the overall market, the SPY and the Qs, if there's any major market news that day, and then all the stocks I'm interested in watching. It's usually 4 or 5, if there's any major news tied to them, and all the levels that I think are in play. To the left, this is exactly what I'm posting on my private Twitter. I make sure to add that newsletter. I take a screenshot of the charts, green line to the upside being long, red line to the downside being short, and I make sure to highlight those 2 levels above. This is everything that's going on in my mind and my game plan going into each market open. Also, I make sure to add a little mental note because every day is slightly different, and here's an example of that. And if you want something that's a little bit less of a commitment, I do offer a live one-on-one call for 1 hour. This is where you can ask me questions about my journey, go over setups specifically, everything that I've gone through as a trader. Whether you're beginner or advanced, this is a great way to connect with me. So if you're interested in my private Twitter or the one-on-one live call, feel free to go to callmattdiamond.com or check out the links in the description below.